Okay, Matt Kenseth has joined us. He's our points leader. He's our Daytona 500 winner. He's a former series champion, and he drives a number 17 fifth third Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. And Matt, your points leader coming into Kentucky. We're in the news a little bit this week, so I'll just let you take it from there.
All right, so that was the one question, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to racing here at Kentucky this weekend. Last year, I think I was one of the only drivers, or there wasn't very many of us that never raced here before in a nationwide series or in a truck, or really even tested here much before all the testing rules changed. So felt like we learned a lot last year. We ran okay, so hopefully we can improve on that. I'm dying to get in a race car here in a little while and get to work.
Questions for Matt Kenseth? If we have any, let's go to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Through all of this and all the stories about this and then moving forward to racing, is this something that you agonized over? It seems like, you know, it was a really hard thing.
Coming in here this morning, yes.
Yeah, coming in here and answering all these questions. Is it something that you really agonized over? It seems as it was a hard decision, but that you sort of quickly made it, and that may not come across as it exactly was.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a kind of a stressful season, to be honest with you. Really all season, you know, from leading into last off season, and you know, in our sponsorship search and all that, and then certainly that was relieved a little bit with signing Best Buy and Fifth Third and some of these people and starting to fill a car up, and then just getting to this point in the season, it was definitely you know, somewhat stressful, not knowing 100% sure, you know, what I was going to do last year. So, you know, it all ended up, you know, I guess coming together pretty quickly. I really felt and feel like it's absolutely the right thing to do in the right place for me next year and for my future as well. And just, it's kind of hard to explain, but a lot of things just pointed me in that direction and pulled me in that direction. Just a lot of things happened or didn't happen that led to that. So I think everything is good. I think for the rest of the season, it's only a distraction if we let it. I think it's totally up to me and the race team, you know, to how we handle all this going forward. Certainly, I think this is the toughest weekend, and after that, I think you know, I think things will settle down a little bit, and I think we'll be you know, just fine for the rest of the year.
All right, let's go with Bob Pockris, Joe Menzer, and Lee Spencer.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. Next week, Daytona. Can you talk about going back as having won the Daytona 500 and pretty much the same rules, except the pop-off valve is a little bit different.
Yeah.
What type of racing do you expect?
Well, first of all, thanks for that question, Bob. I owe you $20. I appreciate that, asking about Daytona. I'm looking forward to going back there. I mean, I looked forward to going to Talladega. Probably, I think I talked about it before, Talladega, probably more so than any plate race I've ever looked forward to in my career, as good as we ran at Daytona and how fast our cars were. So I feel the same way about Daytona. I'm looking forward to get down there. Talladega, I thought we had by far the fastest car in the race and sort of dominated the race as much as you can, one of those races, I thought. And I felt like I messed that up at the end when Greg and I got together. Somehow we came separated, so I've been kind of agonizing that, you know, over that since Talladega happened with that green-white checkered and figuring out how to lose that race for my guys. So I'm looking forward to getting back there, hopefully, you know, getting some redemption and also coming off the win at Daytona. So the rules worked really good for us. Our cars have been fast. We've been able to pass. They get hot when you get back in the pack, but, you know, if we can keep them toward the front, we have enough speed, we seem to be okay. So I'm going back hoping it'll be the same.
Let's go with Joe Menzer, Lee, and the gentleman in the purple.
Joe Menzer, NASCAR.com. Matt, you've already said that, you know, your mind obviously is made up where you know where you're going. What's the timetable for announcing that, and how much are you looking forward to just having that announcement come so that then the questions don't have to be kept being asked about that?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully sooner than later. You know, that ball's not in my court, unfortunately. So hopefully, you know, we're trying to get that done as soon as possible, just so it's out there and we can go on. Everybody kind of, you know, has their ideas and is going through all that, and half the story is out there. So hopefully we can get everything opened up where we can get that out there as well and go on.
Let's go with Lee, gentleman in the purple, and Marty Smith.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Congratulations on your new deal. Wondering if, you know, where you decided to go, if there was any consideration as to your son's future as well, what kind of farm system they might be able to provide for Ross?
No, none at all. Didn't really have anything to do with that. I really never even spent any time thinking about that, to be honest with you. I had enough going on about trying to figure out my deal. So, Ross's progression, some of that, I guess, I mean, 95% or more of that is up to him. So, I got him in some late model cars and doing that stuff, and he's been working really hard at it. And just like any other driver, I think he's got to figure out how to be successful at whatever he's doing and figure out how to get in somewhere to get that next step.
Let's go to gentleman right here, Marty Tom Jensen.
Jared Breeze, NASCAR.com.
I'm sorry,
You said last
Jared.
year you were pretty much a novice here at Kentucky Speedway. Can you give me your impressions on how you thought the track was, and going to this year, the bumps on the surface, if it presents different challenges than other mile-and-a-half tracks?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people like to group all the mile-and-a-halves together, but really they're not very similar. And this place is certainly unique from all the rest of them that we go to besides the shape. So it is interesting. There is a lot of bumps, and getting your car to work through them bumps and be able to pass in the bottom was difficult to do last year, and something you really had to work on. And then the middle groove's a little bit smoother and has pretty good grip. So it is unique. There's turn 4 is really different. I think it took me 3/4 of the race to figure that out. There's a couple little things down there where there's some speed. So it's a different, unique racetrack. I really like it. It's really challenging with as rough as it is, and with our cars on bump stops and all the things that we do, which I think is a good thing. I think the more character it has, the better.
Let's go with Marty Tom Jensen, gentleman right here.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Matt, you're in a really unique position here, because it's not like you guys are bad. You're fast everywhere, and you're the points leader, and you won the Daytona 500. All these great things this year. So, knowing that you're leaving, what do you think is going to be the greatest challenge for you personally as a competitor to maintain that throughout the rest of this year, knowing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge is all the outside distractions. I think, my morale, the morale of the team, and the guys around me, and even at the shop, to get all this behind us and realize that it's up to us. It doesn't matter what's going on, around us and what people are saying and all that. And that's difficult, especially if you haven't been in that spot. So I think that's the main thing. Probably getting through this weekend. Hopefully, things will die down just a little bit, and just making sure we all keep our eye on the ball. So I mean, I really think I got a really strong group of guys. I think if anybody can handle that and put it in the back of the mind, it'll be them guys. But for sure, I think it's a distraction, and everybody starts thinking about letting their mind wander and thinking about all kinds of different things. But it's something for next year. It's not this year, and we got a ton of racing left to do this year. And I think we're all going to give it 100% and try to finish the season on a strong note.
Let's go to Tom, gentleman to the left, gentleman right here, and that's probably where we'll stop. Go ahead.
Matt, Tom Jensen, Speed.com. This is the first mile-and-a-half track with the sway bar change rules put in. Brad Keselowski said yesterday he thinks that's going to be a real game changer and shuffle up who's fast and who isn't. First of all, do you guys have to change your cars because of this rule, and do you share his sentiment that it's going to maybe mix up who's fast and who's not?
I probably don't know enough about it to give you accurate comments on that. So I know there were some minor changes. I don't think on our cars we had to change very much, but that'd probably be a better question for Jimmy. How they do some of this stuff with rear bars and the all the different stuff they got going on. It's not just like a standard rear sway bar anymore. They're using them for different things. So I'm not in it deep enough to know if them little differences are going to make a lot of difference or not, or what the other teams were doing to precipitate that rule change.
2 more questions. We'll go right here and then end right here. Go ahead.
Matt, I know you guys race in hot conditions as it is, but can you talk about the heat this weekend?
Yeah, it's definitely toasty. So I'm glad it's a night race and not a day race. So hopefully when the sun gets down and it cools off a little bit, it'll be nicer, not just for us, but for the fans and the crews working down there as well. So I think getting rid of the sun will help a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be, I'd say it's going to be the hottest race all year for sure.
We'll go right here, and then we'll go to Fred in the back, and we'll close it out. Go ahead.
Matt, Michael Pointer from the Indianapolis Star. A 2-part question for you real quick. even with everything going on, you're obviously having a tremendous season points-wise. Can you just talk about why you've been able to kind of persevere and have the success? And the second part, since I am representing Indianapolis, just looking ahead to the Brickyard, does that race still have the cachet that it did a few years ago when most of the drivers seemed to agree that after Daytona, it was the big race on the circuit? Just comment on that, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, to answer the first question, I mean, it's really just been business as usual at the racetrack. I mean, it's hasn't really changed anything, you know, but what we do or how we go about it or how we think about it or whatever. So, I mean, every time you go to the track, you want to do the best you can. You're going to go race as hard as you can and try to win races. I mean, there's no incentive for any of us to not do that. You know, everybody wants to do the best they can. And as far as the Brickyard, yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, among all the drivers, or at least most of the drivers, I think of that as the second biggest race of the year. I think the Daytona 500 is, you know, our biggest event and the one that everybody probably thinks about the most. And then I'd say probably the Brickyard. So it's definitely a special place to go to, especially for probably some of the guys that have more of an open wheel background and grew up watching Indy cars, probably more than me and that type of thing. But it's definitely a special place and a special event. And it's one that everybody wants to win for sure.
Final question, Fred.
Hi, Matt. Fred Calgill with a CBS affiliate in Louisville. Back to the heat issue for a second. For people who don't know racing that well, how does the heat affect you and or the cars, especially early in the race when it will still be radiating at record-setting temperatures?
Yeah, I mean, the car part of it, it's not really that big a deal. You know, you just run less tape, more grill opening, and keep the engine cooler than you normally would. The rest of the parts, I don't think it's a I don't really think it's a big deal. The cars will run a little slower because they have less grip and all that. For us, it's just hot. You know, you try to make sure you're extra hydrated, drinking a lot of Gatorade and extra rest, and eat right the night before, all that kind of stuff that you usually do, but probably take a little extra care in that. And the car stuff, make sure you got a little cooler so you don't burn your feet, and you know, some of that stuff because it will be hotter. So it's definitely more of a challenge. You know, it's always hot in those cars lately anyway, and certainly when you get an environment like this and it gets that hot, like I say, the heat radiating off the pavement and everything, it'll definitely be a challenge.